Hi, this is Tom Gramegna. We're here at the opening of the Monalog Collective, which is a manifestation of a regular series that we do at Gallery 270, the 21st Century Handmade Print. All of these 9 artists have each of 3 pictures on display showing vintage techniques from the 19th and the 20th century. We've got carbon pigment, which is from 1864. We've got platinum and palladium, and we've got handmade silver gelatin prints, and beautiful work by all 9 of these artists, which strikes at the heart of what Gallery 270 is about. Hi everybody, Tom Gramegna here, Gallery 270, welcoming our artist Phil McAulife, who's become part of the Monalog Collective. Happy to have you here, Phil, as always, and happy to have your choice of 3 photos from your voluminous archive of great photographs.
Well, it's great to be here, Tom.
It's a pleasure.
Great to be back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy that I found you at that art fair where you stuck out like a sore thumb, because most everything else I saw at that art fair, I spent no time with, and you stopped me in my tracks because I saw that photo of our president, Barack Obama, and another one where he was also awarding a medal to Mr. Springsteen.
Yeah, that was a strike of good luck for me that day as well. So
yeah, well,
that made my day.
Yeah, it made my day too. And it took me 2 years to convince you that your stuff deserved to be here, because you're such a boastful, proud guy, right?
Being at that art gallery was the best day. that made that whole art gallery worth it. So,
and you were there for a couple of days, right?
Yeah, that was like 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, yeah. So I sometimes feel like I came here because I had to meet these great people. You know, that's really what it's about. But tell us a little bit about this one, which is really iconic, because we actually got a call when the New York Review of Books wanted a photograph of Obama for the latest book that he did. They contacted me and asked if they could have use of that photo, because they thought that was the best photo that really illustrated, the president as he was, which is a thoughtful man. So you took this a little while ago, right?
This picture was taken in 2004. It was a couple of months after he made that very famous speech at the Democratic National Convention in 2004.
Wow.
I had flown out to Chicago to see friends of mine who had just immigrated here from Kosovo. They were refugees from the war in Kosovo.
Right.
And they had picked me up at the airport, and I told them I wanted to see this fellow Barack Obama who was campaigning for Senate. And there were signs all over the place. We had flown to the Chicago airport, and there were signs everywhere for Barack Obama campaigning for Senate. He was not a senator yet.
Right, was not even a senator.
And we went to this community college north of Chicago in Lake County Community College.
Yep.
And he was making an appearance there. And so my friend from Kosovo, his name was Argent, and we drove up to this community college. There was probably maybe 150 people there to see Obama.
Wow.
No press.
Right.
I was the only photographer.
The only photographer at the event. How about that?
Yeah. So I worked at the time for a local paper in Princeton, New Jersey called the Princeton Packet. I had some a couple of cameras. I had a Leica with black and white film.
Which is what this was taken with,
This
right?
was taken with.
Right. Okay.
And he finally shows up with one assistant, and there was a couple of people there that were setting this thing up. But basically, he shows up, and I introduced myself and told him I was from Princeton. He said, "Oh, my wife went to Princeton." And,
How about that?
I asked him if I could take some portraits of him, which this was one of them. He was
Yeah.
waiting to be introduced, and I kind of shadowed him for the whole thing. There was, like I say, 150 people there. His speaking talent wasn't up to the par that it got to during the campaign,
Sure.
but he was still good.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you know, he signed some autographs, and then
Did you get an autograph?
I ended up getting him to sign a book, but later in the '08 campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did sign a book for me.
So you have a book, huh?
I do have a book. that
How
he
about
signed,
that?
yeah.
Fantastic.
But,
Fantastic.
But that was several years later.
Now tell me, I'm going to go back now. We're going to, as much as I love that photo and love talking about it, I'm going to go back to your mention of your friends from Kosovo, because I think that takes us to this photo.
Correct.
Is that not correct? So your friends from Kosovo, you did a lot of time in Kosovo during the war in
2000,
Kosovo?
correct.
Yep, right. So
this-
you have a penchant for being in the right place at the right time, I think, huh?
This is a picture taken in Glogov, Kosovo, a town called Glogov, Kosovo. This is a sheep herder. This is basically daily life in Kosovo.
Right.
It's not really reflective of the war zone, but basically this is a fellow that's trying to live his life in the midst of a war zone. The war had just basically ended. The peace treaty was signed between the Serbs and the Albanians. But basically, to make a long story short, and I can go on a long time, and I don't want to take too much time.
No, we don't
on
have
this.
that much
We
time
don't have
here.
that- exactly. But what happened was they brought 4,500 refugees into Fort Dix in New Jersey.
Right.
I met a young girl who told me that her brothers had ran off from the Serbian army because they were threatening to kill all the males in the village.
Wow.
I had used my platform as a photographer, contacting members of the congressional representatives that were there. I ended up finally writing a letter to President Clinton. Went to a Hillary Clinton event, handed that letter to her. That ended up going to the president, which then ended up going to the State Department. To make a long story short, that weaved its way into the State Department. I ended up, through the State Department, we ended up finding the brothers. This was, all that occurred in May and June in 1999.
And you're still friends with these
I'm still-
folks right now? You still visit them, all the
correct.
rest of that?
They're like family to me.
Yeah, fantastic.
In April of 2000, I went to Kosovo, found the brothers.
Wow.
And we were able to bring them back. They got a humanitarian visa, and we
Fantastic.
reunited them with their family in Chicago. But this was on the trip, on the first trip. It was still a war zone. There were still tanks and you know, pillboxes with, you know, barbed wire and the whole thing. And I have a lot of shots of that.
Right.
But this was more of a peaceful scene in Kosovo.
I have no segue for going to the next one, so I'm just going to say,
so this
okay,
is more of a
you have a long history though with the space project, and we should also mention you photographed, I think, every inaugural since you've been at.
Since Bill Clinton's first.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you've been at every
1993.
inaugural since then, so you've got an amazing archive from just all the presidential inaugurations,
as a
right?
photojournalist, yeah.
Wonderful. So tell us about
But this is the most recent photograph of these three.
and
This
who's
is
pictured here, Phil?
this is the SpaceX Crew 5. This is the SpaceX Crew 5 going out to the launch pad. The woman that is second from the right is the first Native American woman to fly in space. Her name is Nicole Mann.
Wow.
And she is cross training for the possibly the first woman to walk on the moon.
Wow. So for this upcoming moon landing that's being planned.
That may
Wow,
happen.
wouldn't that be
Yeah.
incredible?
Yeah. So
Wouldn't that be incredible?
But she spent several months on the International Space Station,
Really?
and that was the day that they flew to the International Space Station on the SpaceX, and that was when they were walking out. From my position, they came out, and I was mainly trying to get a picture of her. But all of a sudden they came out and they joined hands, and had I been more in front of them, I probably wouldn't have gotten them all. But they did that, and with the lens I had, I was able to get a perfect shot of them.
Fantastic, and they're all got bright smiles on their face,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's such a great photograph, such a happy photograph.
It is, and it's an international crew. There's an astronaut from Japan on the right. Nicole is second from the right. An American astronaut who is the pilot is next to Nicole, and then a Russian cosmonaut to the left.
Great photograph, Phil. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks
Great
so
to be
much.
back. Great.
Great.